what's up? It's Sean Baligian.
What up? This is Joy Bell here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. Hey, what is up? It's a Wednesday morning at Woodward Sports. So glad you could join us. My name is Sean Baligian. Joik Bell is not here today. He's big-wigging and hobnobbing with the Lions today. That's what former athletes do. Now, Joik, we miss you. Have a great time. Can't wait to hear the stories. Kindly sitting in with me, a longtime friend. He and I, many years ago, did a show called Fantasy Sports Geekly. Both on the radio and then later for our friends at Fox 2. And, of course, he has been doing the draft show here the last few weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Scott Bischoff.
Stop.
Hi, pal.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing? Everything well?
Yeah, things are good. Busy.
I was thinking about this morning. I mean, I think it was 2004 we started doing Geekly together. Was it 4 or 5?
It was a highly rated show. You know that, right?
It really was, and that's the craziest thing about. Do you know what's funny? I forgot. Shout out to our buddy Jay Clemens from SI.
Sports Illustrated.
They actually did a list of the best fantasy football shows.
Top 5.
A top 5. Going back, gosh, that was probably 2009. And Jay Clemens named our show one of the top 5 fantasy football shows in the nation.
Which instantly killed the entire rating process.
You know, I've never had that conversation with Jay. At that point in time, then we completely lost focus, and we started making as many Jerky Boy references as we could.
Yeah, we really did not take it serious for a long time.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't have anyway.
Somebody said Happy Wings and Pizza Wednesday. It is a WAP Wednesday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it is a WAP Wednesday. Hey, all right, listen, you know what I got to do? They were having quite the debate this morning. And why I disagree with Joey. Here's the difference between having a conversation like that and one of those fact-based conversations, okay? Because you know me, it's like, if you come factually incorrect, you lost the argument. I'm sorry. That's at that point in time, I kind of tuning out and everything. What Joey said this morning, in case you guys missed it, make sure you check these guys out every morning. Heck of a lot of fun. Joey, Stick, of course, Corey with a K is in there. What Joey said, I can't tell him he's wrong. I disagree with him, but I can't tell him he's wrong.
What exactly was said?
Joey said that Trevor Lawrence, it's almost like there's a host of heavenly angels that should sing whenever
he
you
wears
say
a halo,
Trevor.
for sure.
Joey said that Sunshine is going to be a bust. Boy, that look. I hope you guys got a look on Scott's face when I just said that, because it was funny. Simultaneously, Scott, you did one of these.
Yeah.
Like the eyes shortened and then the head dropped. But
I felt like I was going to pass out for a minute.
And I'm not saying this just because Joey's sitting in here, okay? Nobody in this room, including you, can tell Joey he's wrong. I don't know. And I'm going to give you one example. This is probably I like making fun of myself. It's easy. Half the time I can beat you guys to the punch. I can make fun of me before you guys do. Do you know who I absolutely positively thought was going to be a stud? And for all the time, Scott, that you and I talk, and you know, I say it all the time. I remember vividly having a conversation with you about Lamar Jackson, saying, what am I missing? Jalen Hurts or certain quarterbacks. One guy I absolutely positively missed on, and you and I didn't know each other at the time, was this quarterback out of Washington State by the name of Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, that's a long time ago in an NFL that doesn't exist anymore.
I would have argued, and I did argue with anybody, that Peyton Manning was being put on a pedestal because he was Archie's kid. I'm not proud of that, but that conversation happened. Really, that I'm telling you, I'm confessing my sin to you now. Peyton Manning isn't that good. Ryan Leaf is a lot better. I would take him number 1 overall, blah, 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 all that stuff. Well, we know how that worked out. So here's the thing. This is why I say there's not one human being that could say that Joey's wrong today. We don't know. And if Joey's right a couple of years from now, I hope Joey never lets us forget that he played the I told you so game.
Well, the math is certainly in his favor. I mean, it is. If you look at the last 10 years of first-round quarterbacks, number 1 overall guys, how many are with the team that drafted
It's incredible
them?
how
yeah.
really.
However, what is the logic? What is the logic behind him being a bust at this point?
Joey, if you want to speak for yourself, you're more than welcome to.
We put bait in the water. Look what happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one,
here we go,
the only, Joey Radio. Hi, Joey.
Hello there.
Hi.
Sunshine will be a bust.
By the way, it's the best-looking beard in the league. It's just...
Yeah.
You're not getting a better beard than that. You're just not.
And the hair and everything.
All right, so
that's ridiculous.
What's your reason? What's your reason?
I just got a couple takes on this one. I feel like, for one, this quarterback got the worst happy feet ever. He's always just dancing around. And listen, you can do that and you could get by when you're at Clemson and you have the best of the best team. But when you look at him, there's so many different factors that I look at to where it's like there's a high likelihood. Because, I mean, like you said, Bischoff, the chances of these taking quarterbacks in these drafts, hit or miss.
At best.
At best. But you look at him, he's always locked on his first option. Always. And it's been 3 seasons there with Clemson to where no matter what, Clemson's the best team always, that receiver is going to get open. They're just that good. You look at his ability to look for second chance routes or third routes. In the NFL, you got to do that. You have to, no matter what. You got to be able to look at the other options. That's something that I fear in him. All of the hype around him, I feel like, is going to be the biggest thing that harms this guy because they're out here saying this is the best quarterback since, name it, fill in the blank. They keep saying that, right?
For 2 years at
Andrew
least.
Luck.
Andrew Luck's been the biggest one, but I mean, there's even...
Well, Andrew's the greatest quarterback ever. We've already established that.
Wink.
But go ahead.
Nod.
And then the last one, which I don't want on anybody, is the ability for injuries on this one. Because you look at him, and this guy does not like to slide the ball when he runs, and he runs a lot.
Yep.
He doesn't. And I never hope or wish this upon anybody, but this guy scares me. Scares me so much. And that's another thing about the other quarterback, Trey Lance. He's the same way. He's a big boy, but he's the same way. He does not like to go down.
You know who else doesn't like to go down? Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I just so happy I could say his
I mean, I will say that Trevor Lawrence's last 2 years, has there been a marked improvement in his game since his freshman season? And I don't know that that's a hot take to say that there really hasn't been. He still is.
You've said that before. I've heard you say that before.
He popped as a freshman. That's kind of what he is now. That's what I think the lure is with Trey Lance, is that his freshman season was just as good as what Lawrence put on.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence did it at Clemson. Lance did it at North Dakota State. But, I hear what you're saying, and I think there's validity in it. There are prospects. We have no idea. We just don't know.
That's coming from a scout, by the way.
But as prospects goes, he's pretty clean as a prospect. That does not mean he works. They have to create a scheme for him. They have to play him to his strengths. If he goes to a place where they don't have weapons for him, where, like you mentioned, if he does have to get into multiple progressions and he's under pressure, there are gonna be times where he's gonna struggle.
And you got to realize too, I mean, he's going to be going to one of the worst teams in the NFL. That's why you have that first pick.
Yeah.
And he's not the quarterback. I mean, you look at someone like him who was the golden child since day one stepping into this program. And obviously that's all credit to him because he's that good of a quarterback. And I'm not saying he's not. You saw his pro day. That dude threw a football from literally the goal line to the other goal line. Like, that kid's got the best arm. But I just don't think that he's the kind of guy that will be able to take a team that is not that great to make them something, because If he doesn't succeed, that means he's going to be a bust, even if it's on the worst team.
Joey, you know what? It was interesting. And let me just say again, I disagree with you, but I don't think you're insane after listening to you and some of the reasoning you've got.
I don't think it's unreasonable.
I don't.
Who is your quarterback?
I don't think it's insane. I don't think it's.
I'm a Justin Fields guy. I'm a big Justin. And you know why? Because when you look at quarterbacks, obviously these are all the best of the best quarterbacks in the entire world, you know? Or else you're not going to be even in the talks of a draft in the first round. But you look at these quarterbacks, and all that matters is their attitude on the field. And when you saw Justin Fields playing Clemson, he left it all on that field.
He did.
Walked all over that team.
He did. But you mentioned progressions. You mentioned having issues coming off of his first read. And with Fields, that is the issue with him. And he has never had to.
All right, listen.
He doesn't, and he won't.
We'll continue the conversation when we come back. Joey, thanks for coming up here and making the case. Because word gets around Joey lost his mind and everything. So now I'm glad at least you're sane, right? You know, where people are going, dude, Joey lost it. Joey, you made good arguments. You did.
I walked in and Bischoff was like, wait, you were the one? I was like that was me.
I heard some crazy stuff.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that. Scott brought up something on YouTube as well that Bischoff, I'm sure that you'll remember. Remember Pavel Datsuk's not good? Mm-hmm. I've had to clear this for 14 years. I've had this follow me. Damn you to my former producer at the radio station, by the way. Don't go anywhere. Lots to do. We're going to talk about wide receiving options. You're going to keep hearing that name we were talking about yesterday, Pitts from Florida. I don't think that's going to be an option for the Lions at 7. I don't think he's going to be there. We'll talk to Scott about that. Don't go anywhere. Make sure to check out this guy, by the way, every morning again. It's a Morning Wood show. You got Joey, you got Stick, and, of course, Corey with a K. We miss you, Corey with a K. Glad you can join us on a Wednesday right here on Woodward Sports.
Hey, Joey, are the cookies ready?
Uh-huh.
Joey. Why is one missing?
I walked on the floor.
Joey, open your mouth.
Dang it, I got busted, but that was so worth it. I'm here at Crumble Cookies off of Rochester Road, right by the Imagine Theaters, and I'll tell you, these are the best cookies I've ever had in my entire life. I am not exaggerating, so come try them out. Free cookie day this Friday.
What up, Dope? Glad you could join us on a Wednesday. Joik Bell off today. Scott, did you know what Joik was doing today, by the way?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, he's having a power lunch with the Lion bigwigs. Like they brought he and I think he said, was it Lomas and Rob Sims?
Huh.
Yeah, they're all having lunch with the coaches and the owners.
You know, he mentioned a couple weeks
everything.
about going and helping running backs down there. Maybe.
I don't know if Joik's getting an invite to my house now for the barbecue. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's out.
Art just pumped his fist.
That's right.
No, of course, Joik is coming. Are you kidding me? No, you know who? Rob Sims, big barbecue guy. Lomas, big barbecue guy.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can all make it over. Hopefully you can make it over. Right,
I haven't been invited, so I don't know.
Here we go with that again.
Yep.
Well, there's this thing. It was called a pandemic. And I couldn't invite thousands. I couldn't invite thousands of people over. Things are starting to open up a little bit.
Can you have 100?
I think I can.
Am I in the top 100?
You know, Scott, you know what we're calling this run, though? Like, seriously, and my boys on the Smoke Show, if you're out there, we're calling this the trial run. Because this one, like, we're building up. We had one in October that was, I don't know, like 25, 30 people. And this one's going to be bigger. And then in the summer, we're going to have a really big one.
Like a Mita type deal?
You could say something like that. Yeah,
I not supposed to?
No.
I just did. But
No, not at all. I love what you had to say about Trevor Lawrence. Can we get back to that for just a second? Look, the kid had a freshman year that was just downright sickening.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, Mo Clarette, Johnny Football, then some. I mean, he was insane. People were talking, before they eventually won the national championship, people were talking, especially after they won that game against Alabama, about him being the #1 pick in the NFL that day. Yeah. Literally. If that kid came out after his freshman year, he is going to win the Heisman. Period. End of story. Or excuse me, he's going to be the first-round draft pick. He's not going to get a chance to win the Heisman because he's going to be a first-round draft pick, right? Multiple Heismans, Ron Powlus. Shout out to the elderly out there that remember Ron Powlus. But all of these things, right? You said that to me a few weeks ago, and I have thought about that like constantly, okay? So with quarterbacks, let's Trey Lance, people believe that there's a ceiling there. There's a next level. There might be 2 levels, right? It might be a triplex, right? He might even become as great as Josh Allen one day. Whoa. But no, you get my point, right?
We need to talk about Josh Allen.
Don't you be mean to Josh Allen.
I have to be.
You will never be invited back. If I hear any mean towards Josh,
well, it's been amended. I'm just telling you what I said in the past.
Are you going to be nice?
Sure.
Uh-oh. Then we'll talk Josh Allen.
Okay.
No, all jokes aside, how much has Trevor Lawrence grown as a quarterback? What is the ceiling for Trevor Lawrence at quarterback?
You know, I don't know that he's grown all that much in the last 2 years, but it's kind of like first impression type thing. His first impression was
huge. Don't say first take, please.
No, but the first impression, people's first viewing of him was his freshman season when he just exploded onto the scene, and he played at a big-time level in big-time games as a freshman. It almost doesn't matter what he's done since then. I would tell you that. Has he improved as a football player in the last 2 seasons? Likely not. But
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
I mean, it's the Clemson system, and
sure,
you know, I mean, they have good receivers, they have a good offensive line, they protect their quarterbacks. He's elusive, he's athletic, he can run away from defenders, but it's more that, you know, how much has he grown as a player, and those are my concerns with him, is that, you know, he might be at his ceiling already, where with Trey Lance and players like that, there's more to come. But that doesn't mean that where Lawrence is right now is failing. It's just, you know, if you look at him as a freshman and then you look at him this year with junior film, it's very similar looking. So,
isn't that amazing?
I just think that's how it goes.
It's just funny to think about that. I mean, it's not a knock against the kid because he's going number 1. Like, newsflash, Jacksonville Jags are on the clock. They select Trevor Lawrence. There. Sorry to blow the end for you, but that's the way it's going to happen. Okay.
I think it's super realistic to think that, but I also think that a player like Zach Wilson is challenging because there are some things that Zach Wilson can do better, and he's already very skilled. And if you can extract a touch more from him. And I'm not saying he's going first overall, but I think it's a little bit like the Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert conversation that the Bengals had last year, and everybody laughed at that.
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
They're not really having that conversation. They were. But Lawrence is, you know, he's your big prototype. He's tall. He's athletic. He can make plays outside the structure of your offense. So he's everything that you want. It's just, you know, how much improvement have you seen in 2 years, and is that freshman season enough for a team to take him first? And I think it is.
Okay, a lot of guys have brought up a guy that I didn't know. CJ brought it up. I know who's ever posting his Woodward Sports brought it up. Scott, I did not know this at the time. I really, truly did not know this. But at some point in time in the fall, I told you that I had a man crush on this kid named Zach Wilson. And little did I know, I really didn't know at the time, because in normal years, let's just put it this way, Scott, you and I see each other a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But
this has not been a normal year.
Yeah, it wasn't a normal year. So I didn't know that you. I remember the first time that I said, okay, I know you know BYU guys, and it's a running inside gig.
Oh,
between
do I?
Both.
Oh boy.
I'm not explaining what it is, but there's a running inside joke. But it was funny. I confessed to you my admiration and quite frankly my crush on Zach Wilson, and you went like next level, like next 13 levels,
as I want to do.
Well, and it's funny because this again, you heard us talk. Art, you might remember this. Like back in December, I said to people, one of the little tricks of the trade that I've learned with the draft process, and Scott and I have talked about this for years, is look at mock drafts in December and then look at mock drafts when you get closer to the draft. They're more often than not totally different, but very, very different. And there are particular names that, for whatever reason, I don't want to say fall between the cracks, but are here in the draft when they should be here in the draft. Zach Wilson is a guy, and I've heard a lot of people say, I'd love it if my jaw would fall on this table, really and truly, if Zach Wilson was there at 7. And I'm not saying the Lions should even draft a quarterback this year. Please do not misconstrue. With that being said, if Zach Wilson's there at 7, I would sprint up to the mic with tears streaming down my face if he was there at 7. Even though, Scott, I'm convinced they're not taking a quarterback this year. I don't know if you are. I'm absolutely convinced they're not. There's no reason to do it unless Zach Wilson is there. He's not going to be there. He's not going to be an option for the Lions.
What if I were to tell you that the Lions are not going to be able to use all of their first-round picks in the next 3 years? Because it's unmanageable to try to sign 5 players
and that's good logic
to second contracts all in the same relative time.
It's very good logic.
Having said that, can you move up and use some of those picks to go get Zach Wilson?
Don't say things like that, because you know.
No, it's a reasonable thing to think.
No, but you know why you're you. Now I'm mad. Bring Joy back. Out, Joy. No. I knew that.
No. What did I say?
No, Scott. You know what you're doing? You are like, this is on me. It's not your fault. You're giving me that glimmer of hope that maybe Zach Wilson could end up here. And
listen.
I've convinced myself that there's no way in Hades that's going to happen.
I went through a grieving process a month ago when I recognized there was no chance that was going to happen. And I went it was a dark place. I mean, it was a dark place. Kidding. It was very dark.
Grieving process.
I mean, thinking about 5 years from now, having to extend your first round pick from 2021, and then thinking about having to sign 2 from 2022 and 2 in 2023, and it's like we have seen what Brad Holmes is willing to do with first round picks. He will go get proven guys.
Sure,
we've seen it. They have locked in on quarterbacks in the past. They locked in on Jared Goff and gave up a lot for him. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that a trade up for Zach Wilson is. I mean, I would be stunned if it happened, but it's not unreasonable. And when you go into the contract situation and how it is unmanageable to try to sign 5 guys to second deals and the 5th-year extension and the franchise tags and all this stuff, they're not going to have the money to do that.
Magical cap space. Remember that term that I used a few years ago?
Yeah.
The Lions are going to go sign this free agent and that free agent, and we're going to sign all the free agents, and we're going to put it. And it's like, and then I'm going to snap my fingers, and magical cap space will appear. You know what you just brought up? This reminds me, going back to the first segment of talking to Joey. If somebody believes that, I can't say you're wrong, because is it possible that happens? Of course it does. I like what you said, though. The likelihood of that happening is small.
It's almost nil.
Yeah.
It really is. But if the Lions were to do that and then come out and say, listen, we accumulated a bunch of picks for Matt Stafford. We know going in, we can't sign all those guys to a second contract. It's just not manageable to do that. So we pooled those assets and went up and got the quarterback that we love. Anybody going to argue with that?
No. And CJ, I hope you know, like I see CJ making some comments, and we appreciate you on all the platforms. CJ, I hope you know you are talking to 2 guys that would love nothing more than to see Zach Wilson here. I'm serious. I just, quarterback of the future, I think the kid's going to be a stud. I really do. I don't, there's no way. Now, you got to remember, let me go back to the beginning of this conversation before we take a break, okay? 2 months ago, people thought for sure he'd be there at 7.
Yeah.
There's not a snowball's chance in Hades that Zach Wilson is there at 7. Not 0, zilch, no. That's where I will tell you were wrong. I gazed in the magic crystal ball of water. No way he's there at 7.
That was quick.
I know now. Once I gaze into the crystal ball of water. All right, listen, if you feel good about your interest rate because it's in the 3s, get over it and call Hall Financial because rates are now in the 2s. Be smart and make the call because you could be saving money. Hall Financial is fast, and they do all the heavy lifting for you. So just go to davidhallmortgage.com now to get started. Thank you, D. Hall. D. Hall has been a friend to many in this business for many, many years, and he can be a friend to you, too. Hall Financial, lower payments, better options, and more personal attention. What to do with the wide receiving position now? I'm going to ask Scott how surprised he was at the decision yesterday not to tag Kenny Golladay, and I'll tell you exactly what the Lions brass is saying right now. And if you didn't hear it before, they took out a bullhorn yesterday and made an announcement to its fan base. We'll tell you what that was when we come back. So glad you could join us Wednesday morning right here on Woodward Sports.
I mean, we're inside Grove Green right now, and they have everything. I'm talking, you got your active air fans, you got your big lights over there, big pots, little pots, and Joey, what are you doing right now?
Get some sun.
That's not what those lights are for.
Feels nice.
Go to Grove Green MI today to get all your growing needs and a tan.
What up, dope? Glad you could join us Wednesday. I just like saying it because I sound so wrong when I say it. Like, it just flows right off a joik, right? Like, with me, it's like I got L-Town all over me. Scott, you yell at me and you tell me if I'm wrong here. And by the way, if you haven't checked out our draft shows before, if you really want an in-depth look, and when I say in-depth, we're going to wade up to about our shins today in conversation here on the show. He waded up to his waist talking about some of the wide receivers out there, including a guy, and we've been talking about it on the show for a few weeks now, Kyle Pitts. People in this town would lose their minds if the Lions selected him at 7. I'm going to say the same thing about Kyle Pitts as I did about Zach Wilson. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in Hades he's here, but Scott, can you imagine all the, I can't believe the Lions took another tight end. We'll get into that in a second. He's not a tight end. Stop it. Like, the Lions took out a bullhorn yesterday. Okay?
Yeah?
In case people didn't hear it before. Okay? And God bless you. There are always fans that think this year's the next year and everything. To me, the Lions took out a bullhorn yesterday. Just for the sake of people that hadn't heard it yet, and screamed to everybody, we are tanking. This is going to take the magic conch, whatever you want it. They made the announcement. We are taking. We are going to build this the right way, and I have zero problem with it.
It was refreshing.
Zero problem with it.
A year ago, the regime that was here would have franchise tagged Kenny Golladay in hopes that he would save their jobs. These guys recognized, to me, this is what I heard, was they recognized that Kenny Galladay's skill set was not a fit with Jared Goff at all. Matt Stafford made, this is going to sound dismissive, and I don't want it to sound dismissive, but Kenny Golladay, he's not a natural separator. He's not, he's a 50-50 ball winner. He's a contested catch guy, and Stafford made him what he was. If you put him in a position to play with a quarterback who's really not willing to put the ball into dangerous places, his numbers are going to suffer. They just are. So, I mean, I think yesterday was an indication that this is a smart group of people who recognize the skill set of the receiver and didn't value it with the quarterback that's here. And also didn't value it because he'll be 30, 31 years old by the time this quarterback may be gone. And at that point, he's really done nothing for you. That's what I heard.
Do you know what is interesting about this? Because I told you, I remember I texted you, and I actually tweeted this out and did a Facebook post. And, of course, I got annihilated for it. I was at training camp. It was the first day of camp his rookie year. And he ate everybody up. I mean, and when I say Darius Slay.
Yeah.
He came on the field and ate guys up. And then they did that drill at the end of practice where they did the red zone drill. And it was funny because one of the coaches finally got to the point, and I forget who the coach was, because we're kind of far back, but he goes, "Isn't there anybody that can cover this rookie?" Like, he was eating people up. And Scott, it wasn't enough for me to see that, okay, with my own two eyes. Then when practice is over, he walks over to Matthew Stafford. All the guys are walking off to get their water and go cool off in the facility and everything. You can see he's having a conversation with Stafford. You can see, again, visibly see Stafford shaking his head. I don't know what the conversation was, but I can guess what it was. Hey, Matt, yeah, can we stay out on the field and work on some things?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Rook, let's do it. Okay, practice is over. Here's this kid that just ate everybody, all right? And he wants to stay on the field with the starting quarterback and work on timing and work on precision. I immediately, because you're not allowed to do it during practice, but since practice was over, I immediately tweeted it out. And I go, listen, I'm telling you guys right now, this kid's going to be a player.
Yeah.
Like, and if you guys want to laugh at me in a couple of years, you can laugh at me. And then 2 years ago, I felt pretty darn good about that, right? Because it wasn't just to see what he was doing on the field, but then after all that, he could have gone, hot damn, I made it. He wants to stay out there and work with his quarterback. I mean, it was boom, eye-opening.
What does he look like without Stafford?
That's a great question.
It is a huge question.
That's a great question. It's a great question. Now, listen, full disclosure, Scott, and maybe this is archaic of me, but I can't take it back. I am a big fan of not letting talent walk away for nothing.
Yeah.
When you have an asset, you have to get something for it. And a third-round compensatory pick is only worth something if you make it be worth something. And I have hope and faith that Holmes can do that. I do, but that's all it is. It's just hope and faith. So in a perfect world, yes, I would have been able to get something for him. But now that I got that out of the way, I've said this 100 times. I have no problem with this franchise telling everybody we're going to suck for a couple years. I have no problem with it.
The problem is that you were going to have to put up a significant amount of money right now in hopes that you were able to trade him. I think it's going to be around $16 million is what the tag would be for a receiver this year. And to take $16 million they don't have and put it in a hat and say we can't spend this money until we trade this guy. And, what if we can't trade him? We have to pay him. Okay, now we can't really do anything because this money that is now tied up into some point into the future. And I think that's where they was they were unwilling to put the money up front. Even if they were to get, say, a late second, early third-round pick for him, I think that the money opening up was more important to them than the hopes that they could flip him for a third-round pick, something earlier than what will be the compensatory pick. But there was just too much risk in doing that. It's too much money involved in a situation where the cap is coming down and they don't have the money already to put it out there in hopes. And for like what I just told you about what his skills are as a player, he's not going to be all that intriguing to some places because the quarterback isn't a fit for what his skill set is. Some places it will be.
I want to get into that a little bit. Some of the options. By the way, again, in the interest of being fair, a couple times here I'm talking about like things that I got right. You know what I absolutely have to call myself out on? Bob Quinn. The predicament that Bob Quinn left this franchise is disgusting. I mean, absolutely. And listen, Scott, you know this. I was all in on Bob Quinn. Last year, you and I started to go, uh-oh. Like, there were signs. I remember that. Wait, for him, it was more a couple years earlier. Yeah. There's no doubt. But for me, it was like, uh-oh. And when you start to make decisions that are in the best interest of the person as opposed to the people, that's when you know the end is nigh. And it's easy to say that now, hindsight 2020, but I was anybody who listened to me on the radio or even sometimes on television, I went to bat for Bob Quinn multiple times. What Bob Quinn verbalized and what Bob Quinn did are two entirely different things, though. I mean, it was
indeed.
He left this team. Look, I'm going to take out the dollar now. This is going to be preemptive.
Uh-oh.
Okay, this is going to shit show.
Is that what we have to do when we swear?
Only me.
Just you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 16-year-old daughter that gets, Lauren, she gets all cringy. Dad, you can't talk like that. You're my daddy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, honey. I'll give money to charity. Art, today, Art. That's yours, Art.
That's my dollar?
You get $1. You get $1. I'm Oprah.
Everybody?
Scott, you're allowed on the show whenever you want.
You get $1. You get $1.
No more joy. No more. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
I'm dead tomorrow.
Scott Bischoff in for Joint Bell today. So glad you could join us on Woodward Sports.
Morning, Art.
Morning, D-Mac.
Hey, did you know the price for an ounce is over $300? Why not start growing your own? With just one light, you can pull down up to 48 ounces every harvest. Do that math and then go see the crew at Grow Green. They have everything you need to start growing today and the knowledge to help you crush it. Check out the Dank Deals page at growgreenmi.com for some insane deals like bags of Oceans Forest or Cultivation Nation 70/30 for just $8. Mention Woodward Sports for a free Grow Green t-shirt. Scott, as crazy as this sounds, I've been waiting to throw this at you. No, I really have.
Do I need to duck?
I've been waiting to. I do pickle day though. For the record, I just want you to know.
Stop it! Don't.
I'm not going there. I know we're
I want they.
The train will go off the tracks. I don't think, as crazy as it sounds, and you yell at me, I don't think this changes the Lions' draft plans all that dramatically.
No, it shouldn't.
Look, the likelihood was they were going to take a couple receivers anyway, right?
I hope.
Do you think this increases the chances of them taking a wide receiver if they're stuck at 7? And we have to work under the premise right now. I hope you all understand that. We have to work under the premise that the Lions are going to be at 7, right? For all the talks of moving up and moving down, how often does it happen? And I really don't like to take out the magic water and go, will the Lions trade down? Yes, they're going to trade down. It's going to be the greatest deal ever. We can't. So we have to deal with what we know, right? Does this increase the likelihood that maybe they take a wide receiver or a tight end who won't be there at 7?
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask anything.
As a way to answer that?
Yes.
Are they interested in making Jared Goff work?
Do you want my opinion?
I want you to tell me what you think.
No.
Okay. So maybe if the answer is no, you don't give him weapons. But if you want to make Goff work, you do need weapons. You do need players who are reliable route runners who he can trust. That's what Holmes did for him with Cooper Kupp. They went out and they got Robert Woods in free agency. They went out and
he's pretty good.
Yeah. There's a type there, right? Those are really reliable route runners who open up quickly. They went out and they tried Brandon Cooks. They tried a lot of things at the receiver position to comfort Jared Goff. They don't have any. They have Quintez Cephas, who's I think will be a fine NFL receiver.
You know I love him, but he's not a 1. He's not a 2. He's not a 1A. He's not a 1B. He's a nice depth guy.
He is
piece.
He's a piece. So, looking at what they've done in the past for Goff, I would expect that they do address that position. And it doesn't mean both. If they take 2 pass catching weapons in the first 3 rounds, say, it doesn't mean that they both pan out right now. It just gives them options both now and down the road. But, I mean, my line of thinking is that they are going to try to make Goff work here. That's what they've said. I think they've been relatively truthful to this point. I think what they did yesterday is smart. Also not tagging Okwara is another smart move. Just not investing themselves in a situation where they're spending money now for reasons unknown. Back to your point, if they're stuck at 7 and Pitts is gone and maybe Jamar Chase is gone, to be honest, I'd be doing a little bit of a dance if they just stood there and took Jalen Waddle, because it's a lot of what they've done for Goff in the past.
For sure.
Guys who are very quick, who get open very quick, and Goff's going to trust those guys. He doesn't have to hang in the pocket and wait for somebody to come open. Goff's more of I need to see a receiver open before I want to throw it to him quarterback. And without, incredible arm strength. It's tough to run an offense that way. So you need receivers who open quick. Waddle's that guy. Devontae Smith is that guy too.
Again, right now, as we sit here today, all right, we don't know what they're going to draft. We don't know what they're going to do in free agency. We know none of that, okay? So this is why, as I sit here today on March 10th, there is zero reason to believe that they think that Jared Goff could be something based on what's around him. That could change.
Yes, so put more around him. Put more around him.
That could change. Steve said, when Cephas goes off this year, I'm calling you out, Sean. Let me just
for what?
I know you're laughing. All right. Do you know? I thought you were laughing because I would say, Scott, probably a month or maybe 2 months before the draft last year, when we were doing our podcast,
you went bananas when they took Cephas.
I was talking about taking him.
Yeah,
I really was.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe me. He can tell you. Literally. He is in today's NFL, where you routinely have 4 receiver sets, okay? I would love to get a guy that you can plug in one of those spots like Quintez Cephas. I love a guy. Do I think he's a stud? No. Do I think that he's a Pro Bowl player? No. So if he does that, Steve, you're absolutely right. But I just want to come correct. I love the kid when he was at Wisconsin. I literally did a backflip and was in traction for 3 months when the Lions drafted him. I mean, really, it was.
Were you in shock? Did you feel good?
I was happy.
He's very physically up to it. So, I don't think that he's going to wash away because he's not prepared to play at the NFL level.
Sure. Arthur.
Yeah, we got a comment from.
Hold on. Oh. You don't need to raise your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, PTSD. No big deal. Devin suggests off of YouTube that we take an offensive lineman at 7 because there will be wide receivers in the later rounds. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I brought this up yesterday, and Scott, you and I may have talked about this on the draft show. Do you want a pipe dream? Do you want a pipe dream? Sewell falls to 7. Pitts goes. Wilson goes. Maybe there's one other surprise, and somehow, some way, Sewell falls to 7. You know how I talked about the tears streaming down my face if Wilson falls to 7? There would be tears streaming down my face if Sewell falls to 7.
Yeah, I think it's almost hard to fathom him getting past the Bengals. But in that scenario, Rashawn Slater would be. If this group decides that the offensive line is what's going to make Goff, you do need help at right tackle. You do. Rashawn Slater is a really good, good prospect.
This is where we go into fantasy land, right? Honestly, I'm in fantasy land right now.
But it's crazy to think
I see rainbows and puppies and wings and pizza. It's and all of a sudden I'm looking at this offensive line right now, and I see a guy that is probably the best center in the game. I'm seeing Taylor Decker, who took a step back in the right direction because, by golly, they played one of the best centers in the game at his natural freaking position. Hold on. No, Art, this is for you.
Uh-oh.
At his natural fucking position.
2 for 2, baby.
Morons, right? Like Scott. I remember sitting out at the facility a couple of years ago, going, "Why aren't they playing?"
That was when I tapped out.
Why aren't they playing him?
Couldn't do it anymore.
Why?
They wanting to be cute.
Smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
But
we could spend the next half hour talking about that.
Now I want you to think about this now. So you got that, and then figure it out later. All right, maybe we move Decker over there. We'll keep Sewell over there, or vice versa. You have 3 studs on your offensive line who are still relatively young that can be your building block in the trenches for years.
Yes. Yeah, Slater can play right tackle. He can play inside at guard. You don't want him to. You're not taking a player 7th overall to eventually kick him inside. You're not. But he can play at a high level at tackle. He can move his feet at a rare level for a big guy. It's one of those things where you'd be looking at the offensive line and saying they're set for a long time.
Yep.
At both tackle positions, which is very important in today's game. You have Jonah Jackson as a guard. You're almost... you'd have one of the best offensive lines in football if Slater develops into a starting right tackle type. There is no defensive player. I don't think there's a defensive player that this team would value at 7. And if you're not taking a pass catcher, a receiver, or Kyle Pitts, who's maybe the most dynamic weapon in the entire draft, I don't know where else you're going.
Can we talk about the receivers in a little bit? And I want you to, if you guys don't know this, Scott is prone to man crushes, and you've had a man crush on Kyle Pitts for a while. Is that true?
Yeah.
Death not an option.
Oh, man.
Wilson or Pitts?
At 7?
No, just biggest man crush. They both say,
Scott,
it's
Wilson by
Scott, we're so sick and tired of being the spare tire around here. You have to pick one of us.
It's Wilson by the longest possible measure there is. A hectare, whatever that thing is. I don't know.
He's Scott Bischoff. I'm Sean Baligian. So glad you could join us. Woodward Sports on a Wednesday morning.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
How are you? Glad you could join us. I just happened to look down at the screen, and I promise you we're going to get to receiver options in a moment. We've been teasing it. I apologize. Hopefully you're still with us, because a lot of people obviously are going to talk about the wide receivers. Scott, I have to give you credit immediately right now. Kevin asked a question on here, and I had a flashback to the day that he was signed. Kevin said, what do we do with Vitae?
I don't know. I don't know. I have to get very quiet about this, or I'm going to throw money in the swear jar.
Art's rooting it on. Art's got a Vitae sign in the
Let's
other
go
room.
3 for 3.
It was honest. That was one of the more confounding things they did last year. You paid him, mid-level tackle money, and you had Tyrell Crosby, and it was obvious the way they talked about him that they really had no idea who was going to play right tackle, and they were just going to wing it. And whoever wins that job in camp starts for us, and the other one will play guard. Okay. It's just... I mean, I would hope that he would be playing tackle for them, because I'm not sure he's a great inside fit at guard. But I don't know that I want him playing right tackle for him either. So it's, they need competition to come in there.
Rank the receivers for me off the top of your head. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I have a feeling. I have a feeling you have a particular.
How many deep are we going?
Well, there are the 3 receivers, and then there's the receiver who isn't a receiver that is a tight
end. He
end.
who shall not be named?
Yeah, he whose name I dare not mention. Rhymes with Palimba. It's going back a few years. He whose name I dare not mention, who is a tight end but isn't a tight end, who is a wide receiver but isn't a wide receiver.
How many pits are in a pair?
Yes.
That guy?
You know damn well. This is my guess. I think you go, just a guess, Pitts and Waddle. Would that be your 1-2 if you were to rank them?
Are we talking for the Lions or just overall?
How about overall?
I think Jamar Chase is probably receiver 1 in this class.
Really?
Just as a physical player, as a physical
Does the
specimen.
1 year off scare you at all?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, there are multiple players who took a year off, and I can't say that it scares me off of him and then take my pants off if they draft Sewell.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, and I will, but you know what I'm saying? That doesn't move the needle for me at all. It's more about what he is as a player and where he wins, how he wins, and how some of his speed issues are a little undersold. I think he's wide receiver 1, and he plays in a very physical manner. The other ones in that group aren't quite as physical, and then there are, health concerns and how do they hold up at the NFL level, because everybody's bigger and faster, all that stuff. Chase will hold up just fine. Pitts will be just fine. With Waddle and Smith, it's more Smith. He's really, really light. He's very wiry. He looks like a high school point guard is what he looks like.
There is a misconception that he flies as well.
Yeah, he's fast.
He's fast, but he doesn't fly.
No. I don't think his game speed is near what like Waddle's is.
Uh-huh.
But he does run incredible. I mean, he's a great route runner who opens up very quickly in all phases, whether that's short, intermediate, deep. He's just open. He's always open. But so I'm going to go. I would say that I would go, and it's hard to separate the four of them, right? I mean, it just is. I would go Chase, and I would say if you were looking for a player who can separate quickly, it's Waddle. If you're looking for a really polished guy, that's Smith. And I'm looking at Pitts as a player who separates instantly because of his height and his length. So if you're Jared Goff and you're asking for I need a guy who's reliably open. Okay, Pitts is 6'6", throw it high, right? He's open.
Yeah.
So he separates that way, and he separates with his feet too. So those are the four. I think you could make an argument that Waddle could be wide receiver 1 for the Lions for what their needs are, or Pitts. I understand that there's going to be a desire to knock Pitts because he plays tight end, but he's absolutely not how you would play him here. And guess what? They already have a tight end, so the landing spot here might be better for Pitts than almost anywhere else.
Could you imagine? I mean, I can see social media right now if the Lions selected Pitts, if he fell to 7, and he's not going to fall to 7. I firmly believe that. Oh, hold on.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, hold on.
Get out your wallet.
Pitts will not be there at 7.
If the San Francisco 49ers traded up to pick 6 and took Kyle Pitts and played him with George Kittle, what would the reaction around the league be? Holy cow, look at the weapons
Look
there.
how smart they are.
Look, whoa.
You know what we'd hear here? You know as well as I do.
Hey, the tight end.
The Lions are the worst franchise ever. In the last dozen years, they have selected 4 tight ends in the first round. 4. Many of them in the top 10.
This is the only one
That's what we would hear. You
worthy
know it.
of it. Pitts is the only one worthy of
the
it.
Lions drafted a first-round tight end.
Hawkinson was worth a first-round pick, right?
Oh, yes, but not
that high?
Not
I
for
think
where
that was the
that
question.
team was.
No, I get
with
it. Yeah,
how
yeah.
bad it was.
Sure.
And then with them expecting Hawkinson to deliver immediately as a rookie, they just don't. That's not how the tight end position works. But with Hawkinson here filling that role, Pitts would then become a player you would line up on the boundary, you would line up in the slot, you would move him all over the place, and he becomes elite offensive weapon, like a rare dude.
Can I ask you a random off the topic question? Is it a little unsettling and unnerving to you that the boss is sitting like 10 feet behind you, like just glaring at us and giving you
I had
evil
no
eyes?
idea until you just told me. I wish you wouldn't have said anything.
I'm glad I'm here for you, pal.
Yeah, I'm right here.
I didn't know you were the boss.
We've got a Twitter comment.
Yes.
Take Slater at 7 and a wide receiver Rashad Bateman if he is there second round. What are your thoughts on that?
Thumbs up. Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're going to take 2 wide receivers. Now, it would be interesting if they went first and second round. Again, people just get yourself ready. They're gonna take 2 wide receivers. I'd be stunned if they didn't take.
There
wide
are intriguing
receivers.
guys even in round 3.
Well,
like
that's-
De'Ami Brown from North Carolina, I think will go in round 3, and he would be. You should be happy if that happens.
This is what sometimes I fear. Sometimes people miss. Like here we go again. The NFL has changed. Okay, routinely 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. Okay, you're going to see more and more of this. Guys take 4th round, 5th round. Guys like me going, oh my gosh, Quintez Cephas in the 4th round is incredible value. And why do I say that? Because he's a 4th round pick that I know can play in the National Football League for many, many years. He can.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a stud. I'm not putting the kid in the Pro Bowl or anything like that. But that's the type of guy I want him as one of my parts. And you hear people talk so highly of him at his days at Wisconsin and everything. So Scott, And you and I have joked, defense wins championships. That whole, guys, the game, everything's pointing to the offense now.
Yeah.
Everything's pointing to the offense. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would make the argument that the reason the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl this year is because they didn't have enough offensive weapons. They just didn't. If they would have had another receiver to throw to, I think that would have been a very different football game. It would have.
Even with the turmoil on their offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. All right, listen, we're going to come back. Lots to get into yet. Scott, some possible landing spots for Kenny Golladay. That will be interesting. Other Lions news and notes. I'm going to talk some hockey with him. People don't know this about him. He's a big hockey fan. No, he really is. Fish is clapping. I can see. I'm multi-talented. I'm looking at the camera right now, but out of my, what's it called, the peripheral vision, I can see Fish going like this right now. And you can't tell. Fish, how you doing?
I'm doing great. We have a camera now in here.
Yes, you do. Oh, we have Fish Cam.
Yeah, we have a camera in here now.
Cam.
You know what we need to do? We have to do it like, make it like, bubbles? Yeah, bubbles, and there's like little starfish in there and everything. That's the fish tank over there. All right, listen, don't go anywhere. He's Scott Bischoff. I'm Sean Baligian. This is Woodward Sports on a Wednesday morning.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys. And ladies, this is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking Thorogood boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Fish, you're an amazing human being. You are. All right, see the previous commercial that was just on and everything? All right. Literally, I asked Stick one day, I go, dude, is that your basement? It was the American flag that threw me off. It was like, Stick's got a freaking Woodward Sports store in his basement. Looking back in retrospect, it was kind of a dumb question, okay? Who knew? And it happens. We all, dumb things are said. And that was an incredibly dumb thing by me. But thank goodness Fish is there to put me back on course. And I appreciate you, Fish.
Justin said that he's going to work on a fish tank for the Fish Cam.
Oh, Justin, you're the best.
That's life-changing.
Let's go to the tank. Like Fish could wear a snorkel or something.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Flippers.
Oh. Don't do that to me.
Oh, man.
Right. He's got the little flappers going.
He raises his flapper.
Can you bust out the water wings, please?
Water wings.
Fish, swim again. Swim again. There
Look
we
at that.
go. He's going. Michael Phelps Jr.
The aquarium.
What is the butterfly?
Fish, you're a rock star, dude. You really are. Scott, years gone by, and Joyke and I were talking about this yesterday. I'm always fascinated how backward sometimes scouting is and how they miss on guys. You and I have talked about it. The Lamar Jackson call a few years ago that I had to you. I felt that way about Jalen Hurts last year, and I feel pretty good about where Jalen Hurts is at. I'm not writing him into the Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame or anything like that, but I think Jalen Hurts showed everybody I can play in this league. And I don't understand why people are, I don't know, what's the term I'm looking, closed-minded, whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, you know what? A lot of these really good quarterbacks that seem to be downgraded happen to be quarterbacks of color as well.
Yeah.
And that opens it up to, as Joyke said, do you believe in coincidence? I mean, it's kind of weird.
I think that's some of the Trey Lance discussion we're having.
Yeah?
It is. The whole can't read coverage sort of raw player who needs to develop is silly when you look at what he did as a freshman.
Sure.
His game and what he put on tape was just as good as what Trevor Lawrence did as a freshman. It was. At a different level. But I will tell you that you're either accurate or you're not. And it almost doesn't matter. You know, the whole strength of competition thing it's a relevant thing, but it's not. It's less relevant for the quarterback position because you're accurate or you're not. And if he's throwing the ball accurately down the field and he understands leverage of a defender and will throw it to the right shoulder of a receiver, he does all that stuff at a high level. He's very nuanced as a player. He does all those things, and then when he runs, he's like he runs really heavy. He's difficult to bring down. You know, I think that. It's just, you mentioned the race thing, and I think it's an absolute thing. Going back to Hurts, I think Hurts is a better fantasy quarterback than he is a real quarterback. And there's some of that, the rushing yards thing.
Sure.
But if you're asking a player to make plays for you and to generate yards and to make throws here and there, and he's escapable and he can do some things as a runner, that's fine in today's offense. It just is. It's just how long can he hold up doing that? And then there's also with him the race factor and also the transfer factor.
Yeah.
If he was this good, why did he have to transfer away? Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what's interesting? I don't have a quarterback this year that I kind of feel that way, that is being downgraded, and that doesn't mean that it isn't out there. But the one undeniable truth that I know I've been saying for a long time is quarterbacks are going to go sooner than anybody thinks each and every year. Again, I take you back to a couple months ago. I was having conversations with people on here and with some of my buddies who, fancy themselves as draft beatniks and everything. And they were convinced that there weren't going to be 4 quarterbacks going in the first 10 picks. And I said, absolutely there are. How much money do you want to put on it? Like what's the number that you want to put on it? Like the 3 are going to be gone. And I think by the time you get to pick 11, somebody will take a chance on Lance. I just don't see him going much further than that. That's a discussion for a different day. But now what's interesting about this is then you have a guy who, oh, by the way, just won a national championship, and you have a guy in Trask that a lot of people thought might be the front runner for the Heisman for a good majority of the year. And if you don't believe me,
thank you, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I sit in on those meetings, and people were talking up Trask more than you could ever imagine. Scott, these are guys that, for whatever reason, and I'll let you discuss it, they have been downgraded. I understand it with Mac personally. I remember I told you, he looked to me like a guy, you better protect that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better give him Drew Brees protection. Okay? And that was my comparative. I want to get your thoughts on both those guys. Are those guys that maybe you could say take a flyer on them later? How long do you expect them to go? Is this a chance where you could pull an Eagles and go, well, Trask is sitting there in the 3rd round. Don't I have to take him? I don't think he's going to go that far, but I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's clearly quarterback 6 in this class, round 2, 3 in that range. Mac Jones is interesting. I look at a move that the Patriots made in trading for Trent Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and I look at that offensive line, and I think he's loading up for Mac Jones because that's a big offensive line. They're a play-action team. That's a
great point.
It's
dude.
one of the things
that's a great point.
The first thing I thought was,
wow,
they're so big, and in pass protection, it's almost like that's right about where I think he will go. I think they will have to trade up for him.
Sure,
but it just feels like the kind of move that Belichick is lining up. That's what it feels like. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but that's what it feels like, that trade. And getting Trent Brown.
He won't get out of the 1st round, right?
No, okay. He won't.
What about Trask?
I think Trask will. I think they're very different guys. I think that we have knocked Mac Jones for his lack of mobility, but we're also doing a little bit of a disservice to his game by doing that. We're comparing him to Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson and Justin Fields and Trey Lance, who are very mobile quarterbacks and able to do things outside the structure of a play. That's not necessarily where Mac Jones wins. But if you protect him and let him step up into the pocket to make throws, he can get through progressions. He can make reads. He's got an NFL arm. He can make every throw you need. You just got to keep him protected and ask him to do a little bit of the subtle pocket manipulations with his feet and not so much outside the pocket and creating a play. He's not one of those guys who's going to make a throw on the run, to the left side of the field, running to his right from a weird arm angle that you're going to go, wow, that's not his game.
Sure.
But can he function in an offense? Absolutely. He can't.
You know what? It's funny because Steve just brought it up. Take Trask in the 3rd round or draft a guy next year. If this was the Jalen Hurts, if Trask is sitting there in the 3rd round, I would draft him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In the 2nd, no. I'm not doing it in the 2nd. I just think the Lions have far too many needs personally.
No, for sure. For the Lions, yes. They're
yeah. But in the 3rd round, would I Jalen Hurts him? Hurts went in the 3rd, right? To Philly? Wasn't it the 3rd round?
I think he went in the 2nd.
Is that when it was? All right, I could be a moron.
I could be making that up.
I could be a moron. I'll look it up right now. How's that? Talk amongst yourselves. Hi, Art.
Real quick, just got a Twitter comment that says that they really like Lance a lot, but if he doesn't change his style or play, he will get hurt and won't last. Scott, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know so much about that. We're holding him hostage to the concept that he won't change his style of play. He's a smart guy. He's a very smart, cerebral quarterback. I think it's a little bit disingenuous to say he will refuse to change his style when he gets to the NFL level, and he's going to want to truck linebackers simply because he can. I don't think that we should make that leap. I think it will be, I need to get out of bounds. I need to take less hits. I think it's reasonable to think that he will take less hits. The comp out there for him is Steve McNair. If you're asking him to be that, I think that's fine. He runs very heavy. He's built like a running back. He's built like a fullback, runs like a running back, but is very difficult to bring down. But just assuming that he's going to stay in bounds and want to bounce off players is I think, I understand what the logic is behind it, but I think that just assumes that he can't learn.
Yeah,
which is a problem.
The comment also said that Lance has to learn how to slide.
Okay. There are, yes, but some of it is at the college level. He can run over players. And are we just assuming that he's not smart enough to figure out that he can't do that at the NFL level and he needs to get down? He's very athletic. If that's your biggest problem is that you got to teach him how to slide, I think you're okay.
By the way, my wife was watching, and she's proud of my language today. I just want you to, because it's only been 2 today.
Just 2.
And tomorrow, you know what? It's all about getting better, right? Like Joey and Stick in here are like in the room yelling at me like they're Herb Brooks. Look at the camera again. So I'm like trying to stay focused on the camera. You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to look in the camera more, and I'm only going to have one swear tomorrow.
Hey, Sean, real quick, your opinion on the Bears? Will they win?
Yes! Wow!
Yes!
Sorry, hon. I'll do 2 tomorrow.
She's going to have to rewrite that itinerary she sent you.
Have I ever told you how much I hate the Bears? Have we ever?
You have mentioned it.
Have I mentioned that to you?
A slew of times.
I hate the Bears. I just, and loudmouth fans and just.
It's Chicago. What do you expect?
They play in a spaceship, for goodness sake. Soldier, like the old Soldier Field was cool. It's like a spaceship now. Like, we're the Bears. We come from outer space. No, it's just bad. Somebody said Sam Ellinger is our Taysom Hill.
Why do we want Taysom Hill?
You know what? Can I tell you why we want Taysom Hill? Because when it's 2nd and 2, there is nobody I would rather see run for 3 yards than Taysom Hill. Nobody.
Okay.
In the entire league.
3 yards. Cloud of dust. Boom. I don't get it.
Do you like Sam Ellinger?
No.
At all? Really?
Late. Sure. Take a flyer. It's with those guys. It's lightning in a bottle. It's so hard to figure out. He's a big arm player. He's big. I think you'd have to run a very different offense than you're putting in for Goff. He needs to run RPOs. He needs to be on the move and outside, the tackle. I don't see him as a fit, but
there's another can't miss stud down at Texas, right? All those little recruiting stars
the next
he
great
had,
one.
and Texas is back. All that crap. It's amazing how that works out. Steve said Derrick Henry. No, I'd rather have Taysom Hill run on 2nd and 2. I want that quarterback.
How about if we hand it off to DeAndre Swift?
I want that quarterback that comes in, and I know for a fact he's going to get 3 yards.
He falls forward, you know that, right?
I hope you guys understand my sarcasm there, because that's what Taysom Hill is. Taysom Hill is a 3-yard run.
He is a gimmick.
That's what Taysom Hill, seriously, he's a 3-yard run.
He's very effective at running for 2.5, 3 yards and falling forward.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's what Taysom Hill brings to the table. All right? Oh, Mike brought up the other B word. I'm not.
Uh-oh.
The Bruins.
You know what? I can't tell you how many times in the last several years I've prayed for a drone strike. Isn't that horrible? I feel so horrible saying it, but if the right side of the bench at a certain point just imploded and disappeared, I would be so happy.
You know, I'm gonna confess a story that you guys may not know. Scott, you may know this. Mike actually saw this happen. I had a puppy when I was young. My first puppy's name was Chelios. Okay, my puppy Chelios was like, he was so sweet, but he was dumb. I mean, he was not as dumb as my dog Rocket now. There's something that is a dumb dog, dumb master. Perfect. Okay,
mind meld.
If Chelly was here on the level of dumb, Rocket's here. I mean, like something's just wrong in his head. There's no other way to say it. But when I was a kid, true story, I taught my puppy, Chelios, to bark when he heard a word.
What was the word?
So, freak. I'm going to use Joey as an example because Joey's sitting there. Hey, Joey, come over to my house today. And then when we get inside the house and everything, I go, Joey, I need you to do me a favor. Okay, what do you need me to do? I want you to say the word Bruins as soon as you see my dog.
And what would
happen? So I go, Charlie, somebody's here. Charlie, come running down the hallway. He's happy. He wants to lick Joey to death. And Joey goes, hi, Charlie, Bruins. He would stop on a dime and kind of lurch back and just go.
Was this a Habs man creation?
That was a true story. He would bark and growl if somebody said Bruins. And poor Joey, what the hell did I do? Like that. That's
ridiculous.
I trained him to bark and growl when somebody said the word Bruins.
What if somebody said the word Brad Marchand?
I'd say Brendan Gallagher.
Okay.
Watching those two go at each other is awesome. Yeah. Can we just confess? Hi, Fish. Let's head to the aquarium. Here's our correspondent, Fish.
What about the Leafs? You don't think the same thing about the Leafs?
The Leafs are like
they're not relevant.
They're nothing. They're not relevant. And I know all the Maple Leaf fans get mad at me.
Can I reframe that? They have not been relevant.
Just say 1967. And they still yap so much, and it's like
Bears fan.
Nothing. Don't you?
Here we go.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be better this time.
Let's go Bears!
Son of a
Bruins.
break. Woodward Sports.
You don't fumble the ball at work. Hey, Drake Bell, Sean Baligian. See you guys next weekend.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, Bell's soft. Wait till it comes to New Zealand. Pour that out.
Let me make this crystal clear. As much as I hate the Bears, I hate the Bruins. I hate that jersey. I hate the spokes. I hate every Bruin who ever played. That's not true. But for the most part, I hate the Bruins. Hi, Fish.
Penguins have the same color. You don't hate them?
No. Doesn't count.
Okay.
Doesn't count.
Wait, what just happened?
He goes, the Penguins are the same color. You don't hate
you
them?
can hate the Penguins too. Yeah.
You know my feeling, though. I have this conversation all the time. He will never get a fair shake in this town. And you know who I'm talking about with he. Sidney Crosby.
Yeah. Okay.
He's sickening.
I am an irrational.
He's generational. He's still... I still take him today. I love watching Sidney Crosby play hockey.
Fine. No. Can't do it with him. But I respect he's one of the best players ever. I just can't do it with him.
He's sickening.
He is sickening, truly.
He does...
Not a fan.
He does so many little things. He's never going to get a fair break in this town. I get it. It just...
Oh, well. He'll have to deal with his cups and all his, whatever.
He's absolutely sickening. By the way, start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. Let me say this to you, Scott, okay? A year ago at this time, I would have argued with anybody that Kenny Golladay was on the cusp of going into the top 10 territory in the National Football League. I really would have, okay?
Yeah.
How much, have you heard anything, or is this venturing a guess? How much did all of the stuff last year hurt him? Do you know? Is there any way you can quantify it?
No, I mean, obviously the injury the long-term injury hurts. I mean, it does. But, you know, again, he's a specific type of receiver who needs a specific situation. I could see him. Is it okay to talk about landing spots for him?
Yeah, let's do it.
I could see him ending up in Jacksonville.
Art's over. Art's going, pointing at the. Yeah.
Oh, this thing right in front of me?
It's right here on this sheet.
Oh.
That's what.
Yeah, I could see him ending up in Jacksonville with Darrell Bevel. I could. I think Bevel has spoke about him. Go find it. I mean, he has spoke about him glowingly. He is a very nice option opposite DJ Chark for a rookie quarterback. Security blanket.
That's an underrated receiver, by the way.
Yeah,
but
that's if he is now 1A, 1B, and Galladay's 1A, 1B, and you have Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to them, Trevor Lawrence would be a nice fit for Golladay. They have a lot of cap space. They have a lot of money to spend. I could see that being a fit. I could also see so there's been some speculation that Robert Woods is going to be on the way out with the Rams. I could see Golladay ending up with the Rams. If they can find a way to make that happen. And I think in this scenario, in this year, we're going to see a lot of one-year deals, not necessarily prove-it deals, but one-year deals where with the salary cap being so low, a one-year deal makes some sense for a player like Golladay where he can go somewhere and explode.
Could you imagine?
I could see it being the Rams.
I'm being serious. Could you imagine that? Like watching Golladay go realize himself along with Matthew Stafford in L.A.
Yeah.
That might be the end. That might be the end for me. I'm just going to bid everybody.
It's not unreasonable to think that he could end up there.
And when I say the end, I'm not saying like 6 feet under. That's when I'm going to realize my dream of going and living in the middle of the woods and hunting and fishing all day. And you've known me for a long time. That is my ultimate dream. One day I'm just going to disappear, and then the people that need to know they'll know. Where's Sean? And they'll just go,
he's on that new show, Life Below Zero.
I know where he's at. Just look somewhere in like the vicinity of Houghton, Michigan. You'll find me. Somewhere in that general area.
In the woods.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the woods. I'm going to hunt and fish all day. And that's going to be my life, and I'm going to be the happiest hermit ever. In the history of hermits, I'll be the happiest hermit ever. But you guys can come. You can come visit. You just can't stay long. Is that cool? All right, so a lot of people are talking about this, all right? I got to bring this up. Sorry. Sometimes, when you do a show, we have to change gears. It is amazing how many people. I hate Sidney Crosby. I hate Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby can go to hell. I hate Crosby with a passion. Him and his teenage baby face. He can't grow a beard.
Can I say this? Sidney Crosby has been the best player, period, in the NHL for around 10 plus years.
Stop it.
What?
He just is.
I still cannot
He's
stand
disgustingly
him.
good.
He is incredible. Hate him.
And I say this all the time, okay? I love the emotion and the passion that Alexander Ovechkin plays with, okay?
Yeah.
He might be the most pure goal scorer I've seen. I put him up there with Mike Bossy, okay? I would take Sidney Crosby over Alexander Ovechkin every single day, and I wouldn't think twice about it.
Crosby's a center.
Wouldn't think twice about it.
He impacts the game at 200 feet.
You got it.
Ovechkin does not.
You got it.
Crosby can distribute. He can score. He can back check. He prevents goals from going in the net. He scores goals, and I hate him. That's where it's irrational. It's a mental illness.
I get it. You know what I say all the time, and Mike, I hope you're listening, okay? Sidney Crosby is a crybaby. He is. He is. Sidney, listen, I'm Sean Baligian for Sidney Crosby. He's a crybaby. He is a crybaby, okay? You guys are going to get mad at me for saying this, and if you've listened to me on the radio for years, I've said
you're
this for
going to talk
years.
About the captain.
He's one of the biggest bitches who's ever played. He just is. He is. The beloved Steve Yzerman.
What is the record?
Was a crybaby.
Are we nearing the record
on the ice? Don't take my word for it. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to me. Paul Stewart wrote a book when he retired. The referee.
If Sidney Crosby was a Detroit Red Wing and cried the amount he does, I would ignore it, dismiss it, and talk about him as the greatest player ever.
Just like we did with Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman is one of the greats of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, in my lifetime, there's he and Nick Lidstrom. There's your pantheon. It's Nick Lidstrom and Steve Yzerman. Sergei Fedorov right there. Maybe just to shade him a little bit below. But
he was awesome too.
I always say this. My job is to not tell you what you want to hear. My job is to try to tell the truth. Steve Yzerman was a big crybaby. And it's funny because my buddy Mike and I have laughed about this for a long time. It's like when people cry about Sid, you're right, okay? But it's funny to your point. You never heard that about Steve Yzerman.
Who's not, though, at the NHL level? Tell me who isn't looking for calls.
Most stars are.
Right.
Most stars
are. Are they just doing it a little quieter?
I think so.
Because, I know that it happens. Everybody wants a call. It's just, okay, example. You remember a week and a half ago when Ovechkin got Frederick in the nuts?
Yes.
And it's just like,
well, you knew that was
people
coming.
lose their minds that Ovechkin did that.
You know who was there, right?
Shout
out to my boy Willie.
How many times have you seen Crosby cup check somebody?
Yeah,
it happens. But I don't.
We don't pay attention to it when it's our guy, right?
Of course not.
We don't. We don't. No. And again, like seriously, I hope somebody doesn't take this because you know how people are. I can't believe you're dogging the captain. I'm not dogging him.
No, it's just recognizing.
Cried immensely.
Yeah.
Like again, a referee, Paul Stewart, retired. He actually, in this book that he wrote, he did his top 5 biggest crybabies. He put Steve Yzerman number 3.
Who were 2 and 1?
I forget. It was so many years ago. I forget. It was kind of. We talked about that on the air, and like people were going, "No, you can't besmirch the captain." Hi, Art.
Just go back and watch games.
Hi, Art.
Question.
Yes.
Because I don't want to talk about Crosby ever again on the show. Is there going to be a time where Patrick Kane beats Crosby as far as points? Right now he's doing a good job. I understand the visual, brilliance of Crosby, but I think Patrick Kane's right up there.
He's a great player.
He's a winger, so it alters his impact on the game.
You said it. Patrick Kane needs some facilitation. Alex Ovechkin needs some facilitation. Sidney Crosby doesn't need facilitation. He's facilitating.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Sometimes to himself.
Yeah. You know my famous Patrick Kane story.
I would love to hear this.
I know you know it.
Just because I know it doesn't mean the people watching can't.
I don't know if I can say it or not.
Okay.
I don't know.
That is such
I'm
a
so
tease.
sick
It's
of
ridiculous.
that. That happens all the time on this show. Oh, I've got a great story, but I can't tell anyone.
You know what, Sean? Sean brings up a good. You don't see Connor McDavid cry as much as others. I will say this.
How would we even know?
No, there's a different. I've been watching a lot of North hockey.
Yeah, me too.
I've watched Connor kind of become that guy a little bit this year. Not a lot of it, but it's kind of surprised me. Especially when they were struggling a few weeks back. When they were. You got to remember, for me, I've seen Connor McDavid since he was 15 years old. Like, legitimately. I've watched him play since he was 15 years old, and he got the special exemption into the OHL. So he's kind of like Carey Price in the regard there's nothing there. There's no emotion. There's nothing like dude, what's wrong with you? Like,
yeah.
What he's been more emotional this year.
I've seen him celebrate goals that he's scored this year much more enthusiastically than he has in the past. He is unbelievable at speed. The way he does things at the speed at which he's moving in his hands, that's one of the things that I appreciate so much about Kyle Connor, a friend of mine, Kyle Connor, is the ability for him. Yeah, no kidding.
We went down that road.
What a loser. Not Kyle, me. This guy. The ability to do stuff at full speed.
It's incredible.
Which, even at the NHL level, most guys are slowing down to be able to then, dust off the puck or whatever it is to get into the right spot to either pass it or shoot it. And for him, it's just like, I'm going 1,000 miles an hour, I'm going to shoot it, and the goalie doesn't really know it's coming. Ridiculous release. McDavid's McDavid is like
Connor. We talked about this before the show. Kyle should have had 4 goals the other night. I was watching against Montreal. He should have had 4. I mean, really,
He's kind of owned the Canadians
in
his career.
He should have had 4. I mean, it would just.
He's fun to watch.
He's incredible. No, Art, can I tell you why? Since you yelled at me, I was told a story in confidence from a guy who's in the National Hockey League today, who I don't know for sure if he ever wants me to verbalize the story on the air.
Will you tell me off air?
I know it very well off of Patrick Kane.
Will you tell me off air? Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll tell everybody.
All right. When we come back, the Smoke Show guys are going to come in as well in a little bit as well. Today we're doing sausages. Scott, you big sausage guy?
No.
You really don't like sausages?
I thought you were talking about something else.
Oh boy.
Was that inappropriate?
Why don't you throw in $1? Why don't you throw in $1? Art, you're going to be a rich guy.
Who knows? Hey,
no, really.
I went to do a show and I lost all my money.
Now you know Scott. Like Scott and I have been in the same fantasy league for many years, and like we always have the draft over my house, and that's one of the things. I mean, other than telling you guys to all eat because you eat like birds. As you know, I make like 3 trays of different smoked sausages, and you got the jalapeno cheddar there, you got the hot Italian there, and everything. Are you a big like?
No, I'm not. The sausage is just not like all that.
Sausages.
I am really weird
damn, do I love
when it comes to meat.
Really?
Really weird. It's lean. It needs to be lean meat. It's weird. But I didn't expect to have to take this deep psychological dive, but here we are. I'm not a big fan of like the fat of it all. I'm just not. So I haven't eaten sausage. Like even like salami and that kind of stuff, like when my kids eat it or my wife does, it's like, what are you eating that for?
I will say I agree with Scott. I don't like the outside of it, how it's skin.
The casing?
Yeah. Ugh, makes me sick.
All right, you know what? We made sausages. It's such a cool. It isn't what you think, like that casing. It's kind of funny. We made like we did our own flavor profile. So I'm a jalapeno and cheddar guy, right? I even took some jerk. I have this jerk. I don't know if you guys like jerk. To me, you have to use the not the dry jerk. You have to use the wet jerk. And I did some jerk sausages, and it's like, I'm going to pay Dave money to go in there. Dave, just give me 10 minutes. I'll buy all the meat. I'll charge me for the time. Charge me for the time that I use your equipment, and let me make about 70 pounds of jerk sausage that I can just put in my freezer. Because it's just that Caribbean jerk mixed with that sausage. It's like perfect.
You know, I've recognized what it is. If I could see, if I'm on a plane and I can't see what's happening and whether the pilots are in total panic mode, I'm a mess. But if I can see in there and the pilots are not in panic mode, I don't care what's happening.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
I don't know what's in the sausage. I'm not going to eat it unless I know what's in it.
Yeah.
If I was back in the back room, like grinding everything, I'd probably eat it. I'd have no issues doing it.
You know what?
It's weird.
With sausage, it isn't. It gets a bad. It's not the hot dog. In sausage, it's premium ingredients. If you're making hot dog, is something different.
How do you know?
Before
I made the sausage.
I would trust you.
Before we go to break, are you prepared? I feel like you're a doomsday prepper when it comes to meat. How much meat do you have in your house right now? Just off the top of your head.
You don't want to know.
Exactly.
I'll let. You know what? All right, Mike's coming in here in a little bit. I'll let Mike answer. It's.
So now you're going to tell the Patrick Kane story off air and the meat story off air?
I have a lot of meat. I have. Okay, listen. All right, since you brought this up, all right. Art, I have a meat freezer at my house.
Of course you do.
Just for meat. I have. You've been over. I have the refrigerator upstairs. I have a refrigerator downstairs, and I have a.
I'm going to bet the refrigerator upstairs has meat in it.
You would win that bet. Yeah, you would win. But no, my meat freezer, it's embarrassing. I know I have 2 briskets. I have an 18-pound brisket and a 16-pound brisket. Is that enough? All right, listen, the Smoke Show guys are come in. We're going to talk a little bit more about hockey, what we're seeing out of the Red Wings. Very similar to the Lions, except they're 2 years in. I still contend it's by design. Don't you go anywhere. So glad you could join us. It's Wednesday morning right here on Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our #1 priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Take my money back because I told you a story that you shouldn't hear. So I take all my money back just so I can swear again.
What do I have to do to get my wallet back?
There, I just threw one back.
100 times out of 100, I'm leaving here without it.
No, true story.
Maybe 101.
True story. Call the dogs off. We're done. Game 3 of a series. And he goes, huh? Huh?
He was just a young pup.
And he goes, you heard me. So all they did, they had a line with 2 NHLers. All those guys did is ramp it up. And it got so bad that, do you remember Sergei Kostitsyn?
Yep.
Who played for the Habs and the
and
Nashville
his brother
Predators?
Andre?
And his brother Andre? Sergei Kostitsyn purposely got himself kicked out of the series.
That's great.
True story.
I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. I'm going to punch a ref.
There were some guys on that Whalers team that won the OHL championship that liked to bang you, and that's what they just started to physically beat the crap out of Patrick Kane every shift, and he was like, "That's it, I'm done." Like, and they couldn't. Who admits that?
I don't know.
Who admits that? No, and you're right. In fairness, that was an 18-year-old kid. Obviously, he's got more battle and metal now. But when those guys heard that, they were like, huh? Are you kidding me? So there you go. I know somebody else in the room that loves Sidney Crosby. He's in the Sidney Crosby fan club as well. Hi, Mike. Mike from the Smoke. You're in the fan club, right?
Top 5 in the world.
He is. Just no other way to say that. I'm sorry.
Am I leaving now?
No, you can. But Scott, here you're different. You openly admit that he's one of the best that you've ever seen. Okay, I hear from way too many people around here that go, "He's overrated. He's overrated."
In what way could he possibly be overrated?
How do you think? What guys like us lose our mind? It was like, okay, now I know if you're one of those guys. Now I know never to talk hockey with you again because I'm wasting my time. If that's like your mentality, if you really think that guy's overrated, then it's like, okay, well, cool. Now we can talk about tiddlywinks and art, but I'll never talk hockey with you ever.
He beat the Red Wings in the Stanley Cup Finals, and that's everything
what it comes down to.
Anybody needs to know about why
that's
people hate
exactly
him.
what it comes down to.
Well, most of it's just Red Wing fan, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same
sure.
guy that hated Chelios and will hate players, but then when they're on their team, they would love him, right? And that's what drives us crazy.
I would buy a Sidney Crosby jersey if he was a Red Wing.
Oh, it would probably be thousands of them in that arena.
Coming from the same guy who wants to gag watching him on TV now. I'm mentally ill.
All right, so listen, there are a couple things that come to mind. I'm so glad you brought up Chelios because I was doing a show back in the day called Ice Time. And it was funny because for 2 years, people would still call in and scream about Chelios. And I openly said all the time, one day it's going to happen. And it's going to be like somebody dropped a bomb on the whole area, and the whole area is going to go, I love that guy. I love Chris Chelios. And I think you saw that happen. It took a couple years.
Yes.
But I think you saw that happen.
But I think it also means something when they don't like you. It means you've done something right. It means you have a level of greatness and you kind of own that organization. And he just does. He owns a lot of organizations.
I wish McCarty was here right now because we've had this conversation. I mean, Wings, Avs, if you went through it, it was awesome. It was great to see. None other than Scotty Bowman, who has seen some great rivalries in his time. I had him on the air a couple years ago, and I asked him, okay, you got to remember, here's a guy, front row seat for Montreal, Boston. Those wars in the 70s. Front row seat in his own province, La Belle Province, of Montreal, Quebec, right?
Yeah.
Front row seat for some of the Penguins things. He stopped me before I even finished the question. Stopped me. He knew exactly where I was going with it. He goes, no, Colorado, Detroit. Really?
Yeah.
He goes, there was a level of hate there that he goes, like, I didn't even have to finish the question, okay? McCarty and I have had this conversation, and this is what I want to throw at some of you guys out there, okay? And sometimes things come up, and is there a guy that you hate that you like? Does that make sense? Because here, this is what I brought up to McCarty, okay? I love Peter Forsberg.
I did too.
Absolutely, positive. I will go to war with Peter Forsberg. I will take Peter Forsberg, one liver, one kidney, whatever it was that he lost before the playoff game, which is still one of the most nut stories of all time. I will go to flipping war with Peter Forsberg. And it was funny because Max said to me, there were guys during that rivalry that kind of got a free pass. He goes, Forsberg wasn't one of them. But he goes, like from Colorado, it was almost like they looked at the Wings and said, well, how can we hate Steve Yzerman? And the same thing, like, how can you hate Joe Sakic?
Yeah.
What is there to hate about Joe? He's the most vanilla human being that ever lived.
That's why you hated like Mike Keane and Mike Ricci.
Yeah,
they were easy to really, right? Like Mike Keane. You wanted to punch him in the face.
It was almost like Joe Sakic had this free pass during the whole Colorado-Detroit thing. And same thing from Colorado, asking some people out there, they said, well, we kind of felt the same way about Steve Yzerman. But was there ever a guy that, like, deep down inside, okay? Here, I'll give you an example. I say Bruins, Chelios, Sparks, okay? I flippin' loved Ray Bourque. I flippin' loved him. And I hated that I loved him. And I couldn't verbalize to people that I loved Ray Bourque until much later in life because I didn't have the maturity and the mental wherewithal. So I had to keep up the facade. I really, Ray Bourque, cheap. And I'm going, the whole time. I have his picture next to my bed. But is there a guy like that for you guys that you can think of?
Mine's going to be odd because you know me well. I played the game my entire life, and I played it a certain way. So the guys that most people hate, your Claude Lemieux, your players like that they'd say dirty. I kind of played like I admire them, I like them. But when you get to someone, and this is going to be out of nowhere, Tyson Nash. He used to drive me crazy watching watching him play because he'd get in there, and then he'd get out. And he'd get out. And the little thing about like a Claude Lemieux could fight. Claude Lemieux was a big boy. Yeah. He didn't want to because, he was scoring goals and doing stuff like that. But he could. Tyson Nash would run from everything.
For me, it's Patrick Waugh. I hated Patrick Waugh.
I'm not familiar with his game. Go on.
There's no way you could watch him play and not appreciate how incredibly skilled he was. But you hate him because he beat you. Right? He owned the Wings for a while.
Somebody on Woodward Sports said, this is another example. I have confessed my sins to this, okay? All right? More in particular with the guy that came before him. I don't know when it happened, but it happened. I went from hating Brett Favre to, gosh damn it, I liked Brett Favre. I did. And I had no reason to like Brett Favre. But he ripped my soul. Yeah. He ripped my soul so much. But at some point in time, like the trend, I wouldn't say. I always respected Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers is one of the best in the game. Can I say I like Aaron Rodgers? I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of a douche. Truth be told, I really do. I think he's kind of a douche. I think
you're right.
I liked Brett Favre, but again, it was like for a couple of years, I was like, I can't verbalize this. There's no. How can I admit to a Lions fan? Like, how can I say that, right? I can't do it.
Well, in the position you're in, you've got to kind of play it that way. It's kind of the Crosby thing. I'm always shocked when I hear you and me talk about Crosby, and when you can say it on the air, knowing that Wings fans are pulling their hair out, crashing their cars.
I'd still take him today. He's one of the best players in the game today. And, he's here's a guy, he's going to be 34 in August.
Yeah.
It's today, even at this age. Yes, he's still one of the best players in the league, period.
Absolutely.
All the little things. I love hearing guys talk about his game, like coaches. I've had a conversation with a few coaches, and I think I told you this, Scott. Years ago, I did this thing with a bunch of scouts and a bunch of coaches where I asked what made Nick Lidstrom great. Because more often than not, I'm sorry to be a snob, I don't think the average person saw what made Nick Lidstrom great. He just was, right? So I asked like a whole bunch of scouts, and I asked a whole bunch of coaches, not only in the OHL, but the NHL, completely off the record. What makes... It was amazing how many people talked about something with his intelligence.
Yep.
His anticipation. He
can see stuff before it's happening.
And the funny thing, I did the same thing with Sidney Crosby. This is like 10 years ago. And you know what? Everything. The little things. It's the things you can't see. Yeah, and it was amazing how every one of these guys, Mike, pretty much said the exact same thing for both of these greats. And it's just like, and sometimes it's hard to quantify that. You can't verbalize that because you're apt to just look at numbers. You're apt to, you know what I mean? And it's just like he does so many.
Imagine watching film with him.
Oh my gosh!
Like, where's the flaw in his game? What are you gonna try to tell him? There's not much there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a flawless player.
Kevin brought up Claude Giroux.
Ooh, see,
I'd punch him. He would be one of the players I would just go.
Yeah, I'm not.
I got one left in me. Let's go. I
like a Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry type deal.
I've always loved Getzlaf. I've always loved Getzlaf.
But you can see where people would really.
I've come to appreciate Corey Perry just in the last couple months, if the truth is told.
Nice.
For many years, I did not like Corey Perry.
Yeah.
He was the king of the Rats.
It's amazing how that works.
See, those are the players I love. Claude Giroux on my fantasy team right now. I love him. I love his game. And like I said, it's that edge that tips the people that are on the teams against him to hate him, but then you love him.
Did you draw a lot of penalties when you were playing?
Did I draw? I took more than I drew. The ones I drew, I'm a small guy, so I was smaller, and I'd play the game hard, so I'd draw some there, but I unfortunately drew too many.
Yeah. Somebody said Lidstrom was a math genius on the ice. He knew all the angles to take to be in the right place at all times. Absolutely. I mean, just his mind is what. And talk to guys that played against him.
Yeah.
There's a reverence. Like when people talk about Nick, there's another guy that got a free pass at the height of the Colorado-Detroit. Like, how are you going to dog Nick Lidstrom?
In what way?
And poor Homer, trust me, poor Homer. When Nick left to go back to Sweden, Homer was like a puppy without a home, without Nick being here.
Darren suggests that I bring up Jamal Myers.
Yep. Tough. Do you know who played with him? Mitchell.
Mitchell played with Jamal Myers?
With him. Yeah.
I did not know. Yeah. Was he at Western then?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
But he's in the same ilk of that Tyson Nash. They may have even played together in St. Louis, but Jamal Myers would have fought any heavyweight out there. He was going to be the protector. He was going to fight. That I don't mind at all. But I could imagine being a McCarty and playing against him. That'd be a tough one.
I almost wish Mac was here because, like, Mac and I, we had this deep philosophical conversation, like, about the Detroit, Colorado thing, and there were just certain guys you couldn't hate. Joe Sakic. Like,
yeah.
How do you hate? Do you hate vanilla? I mean, it's just vanilla,
I'm kind of
right?
a big fan.
No, I mean, who says, "Hey, I'm Sean Baligian here, and I just want to tell you how much I hate vanilla"? No, it's vanilla, right? It's all right. It isn't bad, it isn't, you know. But except Joe Sakic was phenomenal, right?
He was unbelievable.
You don't hate him. But I was always a Forsberg guy. You know that I'm going to tell that crazy story.
He's my
when
favorite player
back.
who's ever played.
Well, I'm going to tell that crazy story. If you didn't know what I was talking about, okay, there's something broke in that guy. Like my dog Rocket, like something broke in Peter Forsberg. I'll tell you what it was when we come back. Glad you could join us right here on Woodward Sports.
Hey, Joey, are the cookies ready?
Uh-huh.
Joey. Why is one missing?
I walked on the floor.
Joey, open your mouth.
Dang it, I got busted, but that was so worth it. I'm here at Crumble Cookies off of Rochester Road, right by the Imagine Theaters, and I'll tell you, these are the best cookies I've ever had in my entire life. I am not exaggerating, so come try them out. Free cookie day this Friday.
Hey, the perfect bracket payoff is here. Woodward Sports and Hall Financial want to pay off your mortgage. Hall Financial will pay off your house up to $500K if you guess the perfect bracket. Now, starting Selection Sunday, you will have your chance to go to woodwardsports.com and fill out your perfect bracket. And if you don't get a perfect bracket, we still have some awesome prizes. Awesome prizes like a PS5, a 65-inch TV, a Detroit-made Shinola watch, and even something for last place. How about this? A brand new toilet. So make sure that you check it out at woodwardsports.com. Yeah, Woodward Sports said, who's dogging Nick Lidstrom? Nobody.
No.
You can't do it. He was Colorado, Detroit, that hate-filled time. Like, how do you call it Nick Lidstrom? You can't. All right, you know the Peter Forsberg story, right?
I know a bunch of Peter Forsberg stories.
The bathtub?
With the spleen? Or was that Lindros?
No, it was
Okay.
Forsberg.
Yeah.
Okay. So Colorado wins the series in the playoff, and they're advancing, and they eventually won the Stanley Cup that year without Peter Forsberg, I might add. And Forsberg was laying in a tub, like filled with ice, and was moaning and screaming and blah, 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 blah. And they were like, dude, you got to go to a hospital. And he's like, I'm not missing time. I'm not missing time. Finally, the trainer goes down and goes, dude, you have to go to the hospital. There's something really wrong with you. How really wrong was there? He had a ruptured spleen, and it had to be removed from his body.
Warrior.
Hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, dude, I broke my pinky. What's wrong with you? I had my spleen removed. What? The freak?
Yeah. Nice catch.
Total freak.
Yeah.
Are you like are you kidding me? So that's why, like, for me, and I confess this to Mac. So, you know, to the people out there that said Mac's going to punch you and all that stuff. No, Mac knows this already. I loved Peter Forsberg. Loved him.
I would love to talk to him, to Mac, about what his thoughts were on a player like Forsberg.
I should have asked him that.
Because, I mean, he
Mac,
was
you want to
just
answer?
Tough as nails.
He was just unbelievable. Well, and, you know, here's the, you know, the dirty little secret about Claude Lemieux. Was he a weasel? Absolutely. Was Claude Lemieux a playoff demon and the guy that you want on your roster in the playoff?
Yes. Yeah.
I watched it when he was a 21-year-old rookie. I saw it with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
You know, everybody talks about
the Devils when he was with the Devils.
No, not when he was with the Devils. Everybody talks about wow, and rightfully so. He was 20 years old. He wins the Conn Smythe. Claude Lemieux was unbelievable. Overtime winners, big goals. He was unbelievable.
And he continued for years.
He's a guy like this. He'd be like this during the regular season, and then all of a sudden, like the playoffs start, and he just does that. Just, you know, it's kind of crazy how Scott said, still waiting to hear why Sean thought Pavel wasn't good. Remember that whole thing? Pavel Datsyuk wasn't good. So at my old job, my producer at the time, shout out to Marty, made a bit that I had to tell her to stop playing it because it caught fire. There's no other way to say it. And she basically cut half of what I said and turned it into Pavel Datsyuk's not good. So people would like hit me up on social media and go, dude, you're an idiot. You should never talk hockey again. You said Pavel Datsyuk's not good. And I was like, that never happened.
That's not what I said.
What I did say is this is how the conversation went. We were talking about, we had a Hank or Pavel talk, right? I loved Hank Zetterberg. Loved him. When Hank was healthy, seriously, Hank, phenomenal. I mean, he just, as we know, he had some issues and everything. And so in the course of the conversation, I said, it's not like I'm saying Pavel Datsyuk's not good. So that weasel being what she is, edit it out. Good. It's not like I'm saying, and use Pavel Datsyuk's not good. And people bought it hook, line. It wasn't that long ago, like on Twitter, somebody like brought it up to me, and I go, like, dude, you know I didn't say that, right? So I had to like go chase Marty down and go, Marty, can you like? But who cares, right? Hi, Art.
Yeah, Darren replied to you. Said that you wanted him, and he's texting me now.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
What did he think about Forsberg?
He said that he loved him. He said we hit each other hard, so hard one time we knocked the wind out of each other. Bottom line, warrior.
I'll take that from a warrior.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always loved his game.
You know, Chad asked me yesterday. He said, hey, if you and D-Mac were to get into a fight, who would win? And I said, well, I'm not an idiot. I said, if it lasted longer than 2 minutes, because Chad seems to think D-Mac can only last 2 minutes in a fight now. I said, my only chance is taking him down, and he will still destroy me. The guy's still got it. He's still got it. Not to kiss his ass. I mean, I'll one day have 4 Stanley Cups. I'll get there. I just haven't settled yet.
Oh, yeah.
But
keep working.
He's all right.
No, it's funny. I mean, sometimes these conversations came up, and, you know, when you do a show like this, we have fun, and sometimes, I mean, there are guys that I think for all of us, like, I really shouldn't like this guy, but I like this guy. And it's funny because it's like, it's almost liberating when you can finally confess because you've kept it inside for so long. The Brett Favre stuff. I'm not, there was probably 3 or 4 years where deep in my heart, there was this growing love for Brett Favre. And then one day I just said, I'm coming out of the closet today. Hi, I'm Sean Baligian, and I love Brett Favre, and I'm not afraid of anybody. knowing my love for Brett Favre, and I felt liberated.
At what point did the Michael Jordan the exact same thing? I mean, it feels like we hated him for the longest time.
I think I was with Mike. Like, honestly, I think I was with Mike. It was the 92 finals, and it was the game. Mike, I think I was watching the game with you. Remember the game where he went off against Portland?
Yeah.
And he just kept turning at the TV screen and going like that, and like looking at Magic Johnson.
The flu game?
And then they had that dumb Gatorade commercial. Sometimes I dream he is me. And it was like, I'm watching the greatest basketball player ever, and I like him.
Yep.
But there's no way you could verbalize that then.
No.
You could not. Even in 92, even though everybody knew it was over for the Pistons, you knew by then it was over, okay? You couldn't confess that. You couldn't confess that a couple years later. You couldn't even confess that a couple years later. Somebody said, when will people get over hating LeBron? That's a good question. Do you know what I think part of the issue with LeBron is? My one man's opinion. I don't think it's LeBron. It's the constant coverage of LeBron.
Yeah.
Because ESPN has wasted a decade talking about the legacy of LeBron.
Is it Tiger Woods like?
They don't talk about the legacy of Tiger Woods. I have heard so many debates about LeBron James' legacy, and I just think it's such a stupid exercise in futility, because if we were talking about his legacy 10 years ago, what are we doing? There were 10 more years and 71 more championships to win. What are we doing? Can't we wait just until a guy's career is over and then take stock, or even at the very end of a career? You know, when you know, all right, it's twilight time, okay? Then let's sit back and go, man, what do we have in this guy? What? I don't know. How do you hate LeBron? He's one of the best to ever play the game.
Sometimes it's awesome to recognize what it is while it's happening, until it's. I mean, instead of it being too late and sort of in the rear view. I mean, I guess that's just a way of life too. I mean, we recognize some of the things we recognize as they're past us. Some of the great things in my life that have happened are long in the rear view. They're never coming back.
Somebody said Tiger's off-course issues. I think it was Steve. Tiger's off-course issues cause people to maybe look at him differently.
He's a human being.
I've always been one. Okay, O.J. Simpson's a murderer, right?
Yeah.
Does that change the fact that O.J. Simpson was a Heisman Trophy winner who was an unbelievable running back? I think you can have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, both things are true. O.J. Simpson's a murderer. He killed 2 people. And he was a phenomenal. Like, when I talk to, and it's generational, right? My dad, it was Gale Sayers and O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, what do you think about Barry Sanders? O.J. Simpson, Gale Sayers. Dad, what do you think about Barry Sanders? O.J. Simpson, Gale Sayers. Like, in particular,
it's like the barbershop scene from Coming to America.
You just the generational arguments are so stupid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they just are. I know Mike and I agree the most talented player ever was Mario Lemieux. I won't hear any argument otherwise. I'm never like, he's the most. Who knows what would have happened if he had a human's back or he didn't have cancer? He's the most talented player to ever play. I mean,
he was incredible.
LeBron is iconic. Bill's absolutely right.
Yes.
Where's the hate? Like, to me, at some point in time, you graduate. You go from, all right, I'm just being an immature baby. I'm being a little bitch. If you can't acknowledge that LeBron isn't one of the greatest of all time. Really.
Yeah, it's denying reality.
Bill said OJ never got convicted on being a murderer, though. Slow it down,
sir.
Come on.
Let's
go to break.
No. I cordially invite you to look into not the criminal case. I cordially invite you to look at the case that he was
the civil
convicted for. The civil case.
Yeah.
It is as plain as the nose on my face. That's why I don't have to say he allegedly murdered 2 people. I can say a civil court said he did murder 2 people.
Fish put me
and
out.
He did. Let's be adult.
Hey, Sean, Sean, you're getting called not Rush Limbaugh this time, but people are grilling you in the YouTube comments saying that OJ's innocent until proven guilty. He did have a book called "If I Did It."
Civil case, baby.
This is how I would have done it if I did it.
You know what? I'm sorry. Again, if you want to bury your head in the sand, good luck. Don't get mad at us that choose to live above the sand.
Hey, real quick, Casey Anthony is innocent too. Don't forget.
Yes, she is. She is. Casey Anthony's innocent as well. Except here's the difference. I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Did a civil case go against Casey Anthony?
No, she works at a bar now and she's living her best life.
OJ was convicted in a civil case, so you should really read some of the stuff in it.
People are having your back now, saying that person should think that the moon landing was staged.
like seriously, you're nuts if you didn't think he did it. We'll wrap it up next.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys and ladies. This is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
I didn't mean it. Like we were George Zimmerman's innocent. I mean, how many other? Right? It's come on. Like, what do we? Like, again. Hey, listen. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, ever. If you want to bury your head in the sand, best of luck. Don't get mad at those of us that choose to live above the sand. You can bury your head. Go and find little morsels under the sand. You know, I'm sure there are nice little bugs you can eat and all that stuff. I like it above the sand. I just one man's opinion.
This person's counter argument is saying, "Well, he got away with it then." What are we talking?
What? He sure did. Still looking for him on those golf courses all around Las Vegas. Maybe the real killer's on one of those golf courses around Vegas, right? What are we talking about? Come on. Hey, March Madness is right around the corner. My bookie's offering a shot at a share of $10,000 with the My Bracket contest, and it's only a single dollar entry. We've got NBA tipping off every other day. Not one, but 2 UFC pay-per-view cards and plenty of intense NHL action right at your fingertips. So regardless of your favorite player or team, whether you're betting first or third period totals, you've got a choice with thousands of lines and prop bets on all sports, and it's all in one place at MyBookie. Now do yourself a favor, get the head start by signing up today with promo code Woodward, and they'll match your first deposit halfway up to $1,000. That's free cash credited to your account instantly on top of your deposit. Now the best part is you always have access to the action whether you're at home or on the go. Visit the website online or on your phone at mybookie.ag and use promo code Woodward to grab yourself a deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Scott, how dialed in are you into the Big Ten tournament? Does it become more intriguing with Michigan, Michigan State and all that?
Yeah.
Are you going to watch the play-in games today? I'll answer for you. Absolutely not. I mean, it just... You know what?
Seriously, the answer is yes.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting around the house, maybe I'll have it on. Because this time of year, as you well know, this is the time of year where I just have like on the NFL Network all day.
I'm watching linebackers when I get home.
Exactly.
I'm going to need to take a break.
If the Underwear Olympics are on, I just have it on in the background, right? There's always a TV in my office at home where just the NFL Network's on this time of year, and I just have on like the NFL Network. I enjoy the Underwear Olympics. Now, let me also remind all of you, I think way too much is put into that. And he's a scout, and I know he agrees with me.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's looking forward to a potential. Michigan State has to do their part. Part 3 would be fun. Michigan State.
Yeah, it really would be. It'd be perfect theater for right now.
Yeah. It's nice to have that theater.
Yeah, it's.
By the way, can you believe we're a year into this COVID thing? I can't believe we went the whole show and we didn't even talk about it.
It's been a long year.
It's been a very long year.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is. I'll tell you what. One of the things that I miss about the COVID era, as crazy as it sounds, there were many days we were stuck in my backyard going, "Let's barbecue today," right? That's one good thing that came out of it. Like seriously, my buddies and I are like, I am not going to sit here and be miserable every day. Let's create our own bubble and let's grill every day. And we did. It was fun. Hi, Fish. Let's go to the aquarium. Here's our aquarium correspondent.
Scott, you should have a hockey show. Do you have a hockey show? You should do a hockey draft show. With the amount of knowledge you know about hockey. Yeah, hockey draft
Only if
show.
Mike can come on, too. Can Mike come on?
Yes.
All right.
Can we break down goalies?
Fish is Chad Johnson.
Can you do a Chad imitation before we're off the air, too?
It's wicked awesome.
Have him do the joint one. Do the joint one, Fish.
Can you do a quick joint
Art,
imitation?
Art, stop talking.
Say
They
again.
put the hand up and everything.
Again.
Joink will be back tomorrow. Joink is having lunch with the Lions. We'll hear all about Joink's adventures when he comes back. In the meantime, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.